So the first stretch is known as a kneeling lunge. The idea of this stretch is to stretch the hip flexors. We're talking about the quadriceps, the psoas, the iliacus, and additional muscle groups. So what we do is take the right leg forward here, place the heel on the ground, left leg is back. Note that it's okay for the knee to come forward of the ankle as long as the heel is firmly planted on the ground. I'm pressing through the big toe and the pinky toe and the heel as well here. I'm going to take the hands, place them up here on the thigh, draw my shoulders down, and try to create some length, get a nice long spine. I'm going to do a little pulsing action just to kind of warm up a little bit here. So I'm pushing forward using my hips, specifically my glute on my left leg to do this, and then pushing back with my right leg. And then additionally, when I pulse or push forward, my right leg pushes down and helps to draw me forward. So my hamstring is becoming active here as well on this right side. Again though, the emphasis is on the hip flexor group of the left leg in this case. By engaging the glute as I pulse forward, I'm going to give the ability to relax the hip flexors because it's an equal and opposite action that's taking place. Once I feel like I'm warm, I can settle into the pose and really help to deepen the stretch here and open up. So this right leg's pressing down and pulling back, and the left leg's pushing forward through the glute. It's as if it's a scissoring action. This could also help to activate in yoga what we call bandhas, which give you a little bit deeper core work and really help to enhance the way that you can open up and stretch this hip flexor. Okay, so this is a real basic and good stretch. You can make it a little bit deeper, in particular since we're focused on the left hand by reaching, or left side by reaching the left hand to the sky. And that gives more length, okay? If it's a little bit much, you can place the hands down on the ground to start, or if the knee is bothered, you can fold a yoga mat over or put a blanket or towel underneath your knee to protect it. Okay, so you always want to protect that knee. Fair enough, and then when you're done, go ahead, transition, and switch sides. Traditionally, as I showed in the other stretch, the basic kneeling lunge stretch, you have the hands on either side, so your feet are relatively aligned, or your femur bones are aligned with your hips, and your feet are going straight out. For the next stretch, what we're going to do is we're going to move this left leg out so we can have our hands come down to the floor. Note that my right leg is in between the middle of my hands, essentially going down the spine, the center of my body. My left leg is out, okay? Now again, from here I can really start to kind of pulse, right? I'm using the left foot to pull forward and using the right hip to push. Okay, so this is pulling by pressing down and pulling back, and this is pushing, this scissor action again, very common in yoga. It's in essence like a traction, a form of self-traction, okay? And a lot of people use bands to stretch. If you don't have bands to stretch, you know, these are what us yogis do. We do this, we use our own body. Our own body is the most amazing thing. You don't need any other tools. Okay, if this bothers your knee, of course you can fold the yoga mat up, place it like this, or put anything underneath your knee, towel or blanket. Now, to get a little bit deeper, you can reach your hands forward. Now, you can't tell from this angle, but I have a nice long spine. This knee is forward of my ankle, but my heel's firmly on the ground, and my foot's pressing. You might note that you have a tendency to want to roll to the blade of the foot. It's actually not a terrible thing to roll to the blade. That just kind of changes somewhat the stretch that we're going to get. Practically, most often you're going to start to feel that you get the left glute involved here as well. So this is perfectly acceptable. But our focus is this. Now the nice thing is it's like doing a single leg squat. So it should show up in your squat. But again, focus is hip flexor here on the right side. So actively engage the glute, push forward. If you really want to go deep, you can drop your forearms down to the ground, keep a nice long spine, and a nice active leg. If you want to get a little bit deeper into the hip flexor yet, you can take the back knee off the ground, so you're more in a traditional lunge. It would look like this, okay? So you have option A, usually a little bit easier, or option B. And then with the hands can reach out, or forearms can drop. Typically in yoga, we have blocks available to us as well, which we can put our forearms on underneath our body. This actually leads into something deeper, and we'll get more into that. But ideally, what you can do to deepen your stretch is grab your back foot, and then you give yourself a little bit of a twist, push your hips forward, activate the glute, and you're going to get a nice big hip opener here, quadricep opener, so getting more of those hip flexors, okay? When you're done, gently release, okay? If that's not possible, we'll talk more about that in another video. Make sure you do your other side. Let's talk about this quadricep stretch, okay, out of the lunge, the kneeling lunge or the runner's lunge. Remember, kneeling lunge, traditional, runner's lunge, legs outside, okay, more in this alignment. I prefer to do the quadricep stretch out of this particular position simply because it gives me more space in my body. When you reach to grab the quadricep, or the right leg in this case, to stretch the quadricep, you're going to find that you have a natural tendency to twist. And you'll note that I'm going to use the left hand to reach back and grab the right leg, okay? And I really want to have space. Now, if you're flexible, it's going to be much easier to do this. If you're not flexible, it's going to be much easier to do this. So you're going to find that it's easier. You certainly can come and do it from this position as well, but let's focus on this, okay? So here we are in the lunge, the runner's lunge, kneeling version. We're going to take the left hand, we're going to reach it up, okay? Palms facing away, then the palm of the left hand is going to turn in towards the right foot. I'm going to reach around and grab it, and then note, and it's hard to see at this angle, but I'll show it to you another angle. My right heel is coming to my right glute. Very important. It's not twisting. Okay, I don't want to twist it. My hand and shoulder here, my wrist is directly underneath my shoulder, so I have a nice strong support system here. Really stable body. I'm pushing my right hip forward. I'm using my right hand to help twist and deepen the opening here. Using the glute again. Okay, using the glute on the right side. This left leg is firmly planted with the foot firmly on the ground, heel, big toe, pinky toe, pulling back. So I'm actually, again, scissoring the legs to actively stretch my body. It may look passive. This is anything but passive. This is quite a strong stretch. Okay? So, to show you from a side view, and I'll do it this time, I'll stretch the left, that way I can even myself out here. Okay? I'm going to reach the hand up, it's facing you. Notice that the left wrist and elbow are directly under the shoulder, so I'm stacking my joints in a nice strong position. I reach back, I grab. Note that my left heel of my foot comes to my left glute, and I adjusted my hand, and I'm also even adjusting my right foot to find the best position so I have optimal leverage to get in and stretch. Look, I'm pushing forward with my glute to deepen the stretch. Draw my shoulders down, open, twist, okay? Nice deep stretch. I can pull for a little bit more stretch, right? When I'm done, gently release, drop my hand down. I'm going to go ahead and switch sides. There's your kneeling lunge, runner's lunge, with the quadricep stretch. All right, so let's talk about this runner's lunge, okay? And in particular, let's talk about an alternative I mentioned before if you didn't know. So the runner's lunge is traditionally a wider lunge. You know, you'll just note that the left hand is inside the left foot in this case, okay? So both hands are inside the foot, all right? The back leg is lined up with the spine, the center of the body. The hands frame the leg, so the leg's in the middle, okay? So this is a kneeling lunge. Now, one thing I mentioned before is that you may have a tendency in this position, and you know, you're gonna have to play with the foot. Now, traditionally, because it's a little bit wider hip, you're, you know, in the sense that my feet are outside my hip bones, I'm going to actually probably turn the toe out a little bit to accommodate the direction that my femur bone is pointing and my kneecap. Just tends to put less pressure, less torque. You know, there's lots of theories on this, but this is just a nice way. It's a much gentler twist, or you know, or position with less twist or torque. Okay, so a lot of times what people feel is that there's a need or a desire to roll to the outer edge of the foot. This is actually a great stretch. Okay, so out of this same runner's lunge, we can roll to the foot, and when we do, you'll just note that the knee is dropping out. So you can even look at it from the standpoint as there's a tendency that the knee wants to drop out. Great, let's embrace that and allow this to happen. Now, this is kind of cool because this just gives like a dual stretch, and you'll feel this. Oftentimes what you'll feel is in the glute on the left side, okay, left leg's forward, or forward leg, really gets a stretch, kind of around the piriformis area, which some of us know of because it's commonly associated with like sciatica or piriformis syndrome. But you're also getting the hip flexor stretch here too, okay? Strong arms to base off of. I'm still engaging the glute on the right side, pushing my hip forward. There's a little bit of a twist here, so I can kind of push into this left leg and take advantage of that. You can also place the hand on the foot here to help out. Okay, just be careful of the ankle here, because you certainly can stress the tendons, okay, the ligaments here, okay, on the ankle. The other thing that you can do is you can place the hand up on the actual thigh itself or knee, and you can even twist the body. So now you have a kneeling runner's lunge with a little bit of a twist and opening up. Very cool hip opener on both sides. Nice thing again is, like I said, you address both things. More traditional is to have the foot flat, but an exception, and a good exception to the rules, to allow the foot to roll to the side. And this can actually even take place if you do the quadricep stretch, where you grab the back foot to open up the quadricep. You may find that you want to do this. Again, perfectly acceptable. Keep in mind what your focus is, though, and make sure you're addressing your focus, okay? All right.